What's up, moneymakers? Vincent Chan here, and in today's video, we're not talking about GameStop. I'm sure you're already familiar with what's happening, the short squeeze, it's causing the price to skyrocket, yada yada yada. There's already a ton of really fantastic, informative videos out there that explains what's happening. Instead, what we're talking about today is what could potentially be the next GameStop, the next GME, the next company that gets massively short squeezed where the price can potentially skyrocket. And the only thing I ask of you in return is to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so more people can see this video. And if you are new here, make sure you join our Moneymakers family by smashing that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. Before we dive into the meat of this, I do want to emphasize that this channel is more about stock analyses, looking into the financials and the fundamentals of a particular company. But I think that this deserved a video mostly because we're in unprecedented times right now. And I'm positive you are searching for information out there because not only do you want to get some money, you want to take some profits, and that's all fantastic and great and everything. However, there's a greater purpose and a greater meaning behind all of this. It's a miraculous stand for the little guys, the people, the retail investors like you and me who are taking a stand against the bigwigs, the Wall Street, the hedge funds of the world. It's a David versus Goliath story. And yes, it is actually having an impact because Melvin Capital, a large hedge fund short seller, a massive short seller for GameStop, recently had to get a bailout of $2.75 billion from their friends because their greedy short position in GameStop has left them 30% down year to date. And you might be thinking that's really terrible for the big guys. They're losing a ton of money. But is it really different from what hedge funds normally do?
There's no fundamental reason why they're there. They're trading because there's this momentum cohort behind it, whether it's on Reddit or Robinhood or wherever else.
But why, Scott, why is that all of a sudden so wrong to you, this kind of momentum trading? Because, for example, if you look under the hood on every quant strategy, organized, quantitative, strategic hedge funds on Wall Street, those things are all momentum shops. They trade day over day, massively levered, small swings. So basically what you're saying is, hey, if retail runs a momentum play to squeeze a short, that's wrong. But hey, if Renaissance Technologies and somebody else does it, that's okay. That's what you're saying. You may not know that that's what you're saying, but that's what you're saying. And to me, that feels very unfair.
No. What I'm saying is someone's going to get screwed, okay? Someone's going to get screwed.
And yes, someone is getting screwed, such as the short sellers of Melvin Capital. But on a more serious note, yes, some retail investors are going to get screwed, especially the newer investors who don't understand the risk and the speculative and gambling nature of what they're doing. But we'll talk about at the end some of the things that you definitely need to be careful and look out for. Because to be frank, this is pure gambling. This is not based off any fundamentals. This is not based off any financials. And yes, the world is noticing. The world is watching the little guys, the retail investors, Wall Street bets, everything. And we're making history right now. We're seeing institutions themselves trying to shut us down. Where Discord shut down Wall Street Bet's Discord server, where they coincidentally say it was due to bad language. Plus, exchanges are coming out and saying that they'll actually halt trading for a particular company if they can link it to some online social media chatter. And TD Ameritrade and Schwab themselves has canceled trading for GME as well as AMC. The institutions are fighting back, but don't let that discourage the little guys like you and me. Now, before we dive even further in this video, I do want to emphasize that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video or this channel is financial advice, and everything is purely for entertainment purposes only. Now, before we dive into the companies I think are going to be the next GME, let's actually dive into the mechanics and the criteria that we're looking for that allowed us to filter it down to these couple of companies. The first one is a company with low public float. Secondly, we want a company with high short interest, similar to GameStop, that has over a 100% short interest ratio. And number three, and probably the most important one, is a stock with a lot of public interest from a lot of different people. Firstly, the next GameStop is GameStop. And yes, I know that sounds silly, but we cannot forget the OG that really brought us here, and that is the GameStop stock itself. Plus, we also seen some really big wigs jumping onto the train, such as Elon Musk as well as Chamath. And these two players were massive catalysts because they ultimately legitimized and validated everything. And it's only a matter of time until we see other big players potentially join the GameStop train. Now, the next four stocks that could potentially become the next GameStop player was again based off the three criteria that we just mentioned, but placing a greater emphasis on criteria number three, which is public interest. I think think that StockTwit is a good example of this on how we can track what the public interest is lining up to, because if we just look on Facebook, if we look on my Discord server, other Discord servers, Reddit posts, everything is really scattered, and obviously you're going to succumb to confirmation bias based off what you are personally eyeing. However, for StockTwit, it's people from around the world, retail investors, where they can voluntarily choose to follow a particular stock. So if we base this off this criteria, the first stock is going to be AMC with over 115,000 follows on StockTwit. The second one is BlackBerry with over 90,000 follows on StockTwit. Third is Nokia with over 68,000 followers on StockTwit. And finally, number 4 is Naked with over 59,000 followers on StockTwit. And also leave a comment down below after we check out those companies, what other companies should we be looking into? And obviously there are other companies out there that do fit this criteria, such as Genius Brands and everything, but really coming up with this list was a cross-reference against all the social media sites, as well as a heavily preferential leaning towards StockTwit as an unbiased source on where the public is following. Now again, this is all hypothetical and entertainment purposes only. I'm not giving out any marching orders to follow these stocks in any particular order. I'm just sharing where I think people are leaning towards and where the public is generally interested in. Although for Nokia, I'm a little surprised because the public float for this is massive. I think it's over 5 billion shares. So it's going to take a lot to move this compared to the other players that were just listed. Now, if you do continue this route of investing in these very speculative plays, do keep in mind these 2 massive warnings. The first one is who knows how long this can continue. Like I mentioned earlier, exchanges are taking notice, hedge funds are taking notice, politicians are taking notice of what's happening. Some are on our side and some aren't. And we've seen already big brokerage platforms taking action by banning people from trading particular companies because of unusual activity. And these platforms are TD Ameritrade and Schwab, which if you use them and you're not a big fan of being silenced by institutional players like themselves, perhaps check out other companies. I'm just going to do a plug for Webull just because they're an affiliate partner. But if you sign up for Webull with my referral link, the second link down below, you're guaranteed 4 stocks, potentially valued up to $3,700 if you deposit $100. The second warning is that this is pure gambling. This is not about any fundamentals. This is not any financials that we're looking into. This is purely looking at publicly available information online and making investment judgments on that. And that is not what this channel is about. But again, I decided to make this video because we are in unprecedented territory and we're basically in history in the making. If you hypothetically do decide to invest in any of these companies, only invest in the amount you are comfortable losing all of. If you do want to check out a fundamentally strong company that I'm bullish on, check out this video over here, or check out these companies that you might want to check out before January is over because these are having some very nice pullbacks.